Mourners lined the streets in Massachusetts today to honor a former Navy SEAL killed in Libya in an attack on the U.S. consulate there. Funeral services were held for Glenn Doherty in his hometown of Winchester. 42-year-old Doherty was one of 4 Americans who died in the attack. That attack also killed the U.S. ambassador to Libya, John Christopher Stevens. Stevens had a close relationship with a lot of American families who lost loved ones in another attack by Libya, the downing of Pan Am Flight 103. Today, there are new calls to beef up the investigation into that attack. It killed 270 passengers, including several victims from Pennsylvania and one from Greensburg. And as Jacqueline Fell reports, 24 years later, victims' families say some of the terrorists involved remain free.
Families of those passengers are asking Congress to intervene and force a new and bigger investigation into the 1988 attack. She was 16 years old and traveling alone on Pan Am 103 when it exploded and crashed in Lockerbie, Scotland. Melina Hudson's father told us,
"For me and for almost all families, there is life before something like this happens, and there's life afterwards. And when you lose a child, especially, I think you never get over it."
One Libyan man was convicted in connection with the attack and died recently. But quietly, for several years, families have been lobbying Washington to force the Libyan government to find and hand over others, co-conspirators. Some of the families canvassed Capitol Hill today, urging federal leaders more loudly, pointing to last week's attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya as evidence Libya is not doing enough to root out terrorists.
We just want to get this thing over and get on with our lives because there's so much pain and suffering all these years.
Under questioning this summer, the U.S. Attorney General said there is still an ongoing Pan Am 103 investigation at the Justice Department.
I think there is still a basis to believe that more investigation is warranted, and we are pressing the Libyan government in that regard.
Right. There is new legislation in the U.S. House that, quote, formally expresses the disappointment of Congress in the failure of the U.S. to properly investigate Pan Am 103 and ordering a more formal update soon on how that probe is coming. In Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
Among those killed was Beth Ann Johnson of Westmoreland County. She was a student at Seton Hill who was returning home from studying abroad.